lost mine in the sand. Where will you stand?
Is that time live from Israel, from Modi'in specifically, Hanok Young. Hey man, how are you?
I'm all things considered, I'm doing fine.
I'm trying to read your shirt, and my Hebrew is
Yeah,
not that good.
this is Gush Katif.
Okay, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
got
don't
it.
forget, don't forgive.
Yeah,
And it was poignant when I got the shirt in 2005.
yeah, yeah.
And I mean, all the other Gush Katif shirts have all been worn out. This one was stuck in the back of my closet.
Oh wow,
And how much more does it mean now?
yeah,
I mean, as of the other day, we have passed 700 soldiers killed since
yeah,
this war started. Now,
yeah,
people are generally tracking since the ground operation began, but it began really on October 7th.
yeah.
So this is one of those things that are strange. Okay, first item is everyone's trying to figure out what the heck happened on Sunday. First of all, it has been incredibly stressful, attempting to go to sleep every night, wondering if you're going to be woken up during the night with sirens because Iran
Hmm.
and Iran's proxy in Lebanon, Hezbollah. There, this is going on and on and on. And more than a few times I encountered Israelis who basically said, if they're going to attack, let's get this over with.
Yeah.
Now, strangely enough, I was able to work on Sunday and Monday this week. This was my 8th and 9th tour that I have done since October. Yeah, it's still only at 40% of what I normally earn, but as the saying goes, it's a lot better than zero.
And let's put in there that when you say you were guiding, one day was with one person and the other day was with two people. So
Yeah,
we're not talking
this
about
is
lighting
no,
it on fire here.
no. And it is interesting though that people who make up their mind that they're going to go to Israel actually do come.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a handful, but when I took one of the day, well, both of the days actually, I took these tourists to the Har HaBayit, to the Temple Mount, although it wasn't part of the tourist Israel itinerary. I'm not really
Yeah.
a rule follower to begin with,
Yeah. Since
but
you're there, let's go ahead and go up there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there was a Mexican group ahead of us, a whole tour group of
Huh.
people from Mexico. Now it's interesting, they got in trouble going before they entered the Temple Mount because they had this big Mexican flag that they wanted to pose for a picture.
Oh,
You can't do that on the Temple Mount.
yeah.
Not any national flag.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sunday morning for me to guide in Jerusalem, I'm up at 4:30. And close to 5 o'clock, my phone began jumping off the
Hmm.
table, alert after alert. I mean, it was something like I had never seen before.
Oh, yeah.
So it turns out that our intelligence, which we actually used this time, indicated there was going to be a massive launch from
Hmm.
Hezbollah. And it appears, and that what's really interesting is we all know that something really big happened, but it's like shrouded
Hmm.
in like, the way little kids play and they pull big sheets over, or they set up like a fort near a big table and they all hide there. It's like, something's going on, but you're not sure exactly what.
Yeah. Yeah.
It what it appears happened is we struck before they launched somewhere between 3 and 6,000 rockets and projectiles
Wow.
and missiles. Let's take the smaller number, 3,000. Easily would have overwhelmed all of our air defenses.
Sure.
And it appears that many were aimed at Tel Aviv and sensitive military / Mossad bases, headquarters nearby.
Mm.
Okay. A couple of things. So it was incredibly successful. We had 100 planes in the air.
Yeah.
Do strikes simultaneously. It was like the best of the Israeli Air Force. But there are a number of things that, you know, while we're jumping up in the air and giving each other high fives and doing belly bumps and all that, or like a mosh pit, we've got to stop for a second and say, number one, Baruch Hashem, thank God.
Yeah.
This is, you know, another miracle that we were able to do this. But the big element is it changes nothing on the ground in the north.
True.
We have 83,000 people still out of their homes. School starts nationwide in Israel on Sunday. Sunday, September 1st, first day of school. No one's going to school in the north.
No.
The north is like a scorched wasteland right now. This is from the Lebanese border all the way to the Golan Heights. It's an ecological disaster. We have lost our sovereignty, and something has got to happen. And the time to deal with it is really running out. So that's a big thing. But one of the things about it that doesn't add up in my mind is Hezbollah announced that they had 7 of their soldiers / terrorists killed. How do you destroy so many missile sites and have explosions and only have 7 people killed?
Well, and that's what we have you for. So explain it to us.
Somebody's not fessing
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
And Hezbollah has been relatively quiet. The other thing to point out to people is at the rate of 3,000 to 6,000 missiles and rockets per day, they could maintain that for 30 days. We already are instructed to have a minimum of 3 days of food and water and medical supplies in each of our homes. By the way, water is relatively available on the shelves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what had happened back in October did not happen now. So there's a lot going on, and there's a lot that has to be done. But there also is the accusation against our government that they only act when Tel Aviv is threatened.
A lot of
And
truth
you
in
got to
that.
think about that. It's 10 months on, okay, we were invaded by Hamas, October 7th, October 8th, Hezbollah began firing. And even the term Israel preemptively struck Hezbollah, how do you use the term preemptively when they've already fired 7,000 rockets and missiles at us?
That's what I don't understand. You know, as well, we're waiting for them to do something. What are they waiting for? You know, is it they're waiting for a rocket to hit Netanyahu's house or something? What is it that they're looking to get? But it's all political pressure.
It's political pressure on the one hand. It's a lack of again. Okay, now I got to touch upon a pet peeve. We haven't done one of those in a while. As I've shared the news over the last 10 months, I've pointed out repeatedly, I'm not going to go into all of it, but the faults of our military intelligence, being arrogant, not understanding it, the faults of the leadership of the IDF, who for more than 20 years have been wedded to this concept that we could totally win any wars in the air. We didn't need more tank divisions. We didn't need more artillery.
Yeah.
We believe their assurances that we could fight 2 major wars simultaneously on 2 different fronts. The reality is we cannot.
Yeah.
It is our political leadership lacking a will, lacking a vision, lacking an understanding that this is a religious war against Islam. Okay. Nowhere in there did I ever indicate that there was a lack of faith on the part of my government, our military leadership, or our military intelligence. But repeatedly, I get notes from people that keep bringing that up. Now, part of that may be the fact that we come from two radically different religious traditions.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to understand that. But as a guide, one of the things that I do that I think I do well is I try to quickly understand what it is that people don't understand and then explain it. I'm not sure, other than saying that whether our leadership is religiously observant or not, it's not an issue of faith that they're lacking. They're lacking leadership, they're lacking the ability to assess, and they're lacking the ability to project where the Israeli military sits in our neighborhood.
Hmm.
And I think there's a real lack of understanding, and I just want to encourage people to think out of the box in their world and see it in our world. I no longer get notes on Facebook, because I unfriended these people and blocked them, who, when I would post something about the Temple Mount, would write something like, go there,
Oh,
blow
yeah.
it up, tear it, plow it up. You know, it's like, we are not your pawns for your eschatology. It
Mhm.
doesn't work that way, kids. Not at all.
And what you just hit there is pawns for your eschatology. Um,
Yeah.
Boy, that is a loaded statement. We don't have time in this program or hours and hours to go into that. But I want people to consider that whatever doctrines you have, people go back to pre-trib rapture and all of these things. Israel to them is no more than a pawn in their eschatology. Those are impacting words that I hope people will spend a little time thinking about.
I mean, I've actually had people say to me, I so support what you guys are doing on the Temple Mount. When are you going to build the temple already? Because after you build the temple, that's when the Antichrist can come. And then they go through this whole thing. And I'm looking around for an axe nearby that I could split their head open with.
Yeah, because that's when a third of the city will be killed, and I mean, in their minds.
144,000 Jews left. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
read the book of Revelation. I know what you're talking about.
that's just and it's, of course they don't consider that says 12,000 from every tribe, but that's another subject. But it is that's interesting. Speaking of the Temple Mount, okay, Ben Gur,
Ben Veer.
Ben Gavir, okay.
Yeah.
No, not only can I not read your T-shirt, I can't keep up with these names. That's why I have you around. But one of the reasons. So he goes up there, and all of a sudden now things are exploding regarding politicians and everything.
Okay. Let me explain what's going on. His call for like, hey, we should build a synagogue up there. Hey, we can do whatever we want. He is setting himself up for support from his constituency for the next election, which has not been set up. If this government is not brought down, it has to rule, God forbid, for another 2 years. But he's already positioning himself. And it is a real shame, because the people that I work with who are giving blood, sweat, and tears on a daily basis for the restoration of full sovereignty and prayer rights on the Temple Mount stand to lose out by his grandstanding. And I have to share an example because, sometimes I'll get notes saying, I'm surprised that you're not more supportive of him. And I guess they're just seeing the unhinged version of who I am. Let me take you back. Summer that I was here with Rav Kahana was a JDL leadership program, Jewish Defense League. We took over the Hadassah Hospital building in Hebron. At that time, our government, although the building was Jewish owned, was not allowing it to revert to Jewish ownership. A number of people from the movement at the time, this is in the 70s, called Gush Emunim, those who were supporting Jewish communities in Judea and Samaria, they were arrested and thrown in jail for 2 weeks. So Rav Kahana had a great idea. We're there, we'll get a bunch of other Americans to join us, and we're going to take over the buildings. And we did. And we were arrested. I've got some really interesting stories about that. But the point is, before we were taken to jail in Petach Tikva, and I have to share something with you. The jails in Israel is a Western country. The jails in Israel are Middle Eastern. This is like, it was, as we say in Aramaic, no bueno. This was not good at all. But the point is, before we were taken to jail, we were taken to a nearby military base right outside of Hebron. And the commander spoke to us in English, and he really ripped us apart. And he basically said, so here it is, you guys are coming, you rile up all the local Arabs, and in a few days, in a few weeks, you're going to get on a plane, you're going to go back to America, and you left us in this situation.
Yeah.
Filled with righteous indignation, we were all going on Aliyah, we're all moving to Israel, we're all going to be in the army, we're all gonna. Out of the 30 some odd people that we were there, I think I'm one of 3.
Wow.
That eventually made Aliyah. And I've long been haunted by what he said. So here's Ben Gvir throwing around comments, throwing out comments, when in reality, our focus needs to be to get people up to the Temple Mount, to create a mass movement of people who realize the importance of doing this. And instead, he's acting like, a grandstanding idiot, like he's P.T. Barnum.
Good way of saying it. Yeah. Because I see that whenever he goes up there, besides what he's saying is pretty much ridiculous at times, but just his presence, the presence of a politician, one politician can do more damage than, you guys are going up there every week, you're praying. What you're doing, I believe, is going to be is the seed of what is going to be happening very soon on a larger basis.
Now, I don't want to mess up the math, but when I was talking about how we've got Jews fully prostrating themselves, hishtachaveh, as it's commanded in the Torah, and this is the first time since year 70.
Yeah.
That's not exactly true. During the time of the Bar Kokhba rebellion,
correct, yeah,
in the approximately, the most recent would have been about 134 to 135, but it's still pretty amazing we're talking about more than 1900 years.
Yeah.
It's really remarkable, but it takes time and it takes effort. In the same way, when we went to Shem, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's an effort to just go and make a political statement or release, draft a press release doesn't work. Speaking of press releases, here's a little friendly reminder to people. 2 friendly reminders. One of the things that you've always encouraged people to do is get a map of Israel. And I really, really strongly suggest that. I get notes from people who are deeply worried that rockets, are falling on my head. You can see on the alert app where there is an alert, and you can see where I live, where Jerusalem is. Since you love Israel, become more familiar with Israel. It really makes sense. It really makes sense.
It does. We were over at our seeing our grandkids the other day, and went back in the boys' room, and it was really heartwarming to see the map of Israel. When I had asked one of our grandchildren, "What do you want me to bring you from Israel?" the last time I was there, and they said, "I want a map."
That's beautiful. Now,
Yeah.
the fact that I have guided it all since October, and I'm not the only tour guide that Tourist Israel has used. And I don't do the Caesarea, Akko, Haifa tour. It just
Mhm.
logistically for me, it's just too far away. Anyway, and it starts from Tel Aviv. It amazes me that people are coming to Israel at all. So here is an encouraging reminder to those who are waiting for the next Connect to Israel tour. Guys, make sure you're saving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make sure you're putting aside those dollars. Trust me, there are lots of goodies here that y'all want to bring back. Make sure that you don't forget that you've got an upcoming Israel trip. It may not be upcoming in the short term, but for sure, you're going to be joining us here.
And just for those people that are listening to that message right there, if things change quickly, it takes me about 30 to 60 days to put together a tour. I can do that in that amount of time. So we're not putting dates. I'm actually going through and scrubbing the websites as far as dates go. I'm going to put something else on there. But something changes, I can put together a tour and have you on the ground 30 to 60 days from now on a full tour. That's not a problem. The problem is if I put an email out and said, guys, we have our opportunity 60 days from now. Do people have the preparation?
Yeah.
Have they
Are they
prepared
ready?
financially?
Are they
Okay.
ready?
Yeah. It is not out of the question for us to do a spring tour in 2025. I'm personally feeling like it'll probably be the around Sukkot time of 2025, but we're ready to go. And
Things
uh,
change all the time.
yeah, and those that are looking for, those that followed me on the virtual tour in February, Bezrat Hashem, I have plans to go in probably mid-November, and we'll be doing the same thing. And so people need to be considering that, okay, I need to be sharing this with my family, with my friends, and, be that, as Tuvia, our mutual friend, Tuvia, always says, you are now ambassadors for Israel.
See, this is the whole thing. Already today, airlines, not based in America, but airlines, including European airlines, have begun scheduling to this whole idea that they thought Hezbollah was going to
Yeah.
kind of be apocalypse now. Baruch Hashem was not.
Yeah.
They're coming back. Groups are going to be coming back shortly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
We just need to be planning for it. So,
Yeah.
all right. And you're planning a January tour, and I just want to encourage
Yeah.
people. The schedule's not totally out yet, but people can
No.
go to kolyehuda.com. They can give a donation and toward that airline ticket, that you're getting here. They can go and go ahead and that's planting a seed into what you'll be presenting when you're here in January, February area.
Yeah, working on some really interesting things. It appears that I'll be coming in mid-January, staying to the third week in February. It's going to be a maximum of 6 weeks only.
Yeah.
It's going to be a much shorter trip than the last one. I'm looking hopefully in the southeast, southwest, you know, the warmer states. My friends in Ohio, Kentucky, Colorado, etc. You know, I'm sure you all understand.
Catch you in the summer.
We're looking July to see y'all. But
Okay.
you know, it's I again, I haven't even sent out much information. But I know for sure I'm going to be in North Carolina, for sure in Texas, for sure in Florida, for sure in Virginia. South Carolina looks good. I'm going to be in Mississippi.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
Mm,
anything's possible. Yeah.
hoorah. Okay. All right. Till next week. Take care,
All
and
right, man.
appreciate your videos from the Temple Mount, and
My
of course
pleasure.
the Hasidic guy. I guess he was Hasidic with the rock. I don't even. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
strange.
yeah.
It's
It's
Israel.
Jerusalem. And but the key is that was Sunday.
Yeah.
People were freaking out. I mean,
Yeah.
the
I
Hezbollah
know.
thing was over
It's
already.
it's
Yeah.
hilarious. It's
All
hilarious.
right.
All right.
Take
Later.
care, Mike. See ya.